Sometimes a woman must walk alone, not because she desires solitude, but because her journey demands a strength that cannot be cultivated in the presence of noise. This strength is rooted not in numbers or companionship, but in silence, in reflection, and in a profound connection to God. The world often paints a picture of loneliness as a weakness. But for this woman, solitude becomes her greatest teacher and ally. In a society that glorifies friendships, popularity, and external validation, she defies the norm. Her worth isn't dictated by how many people surround her or by how many voices affirm her existence. Her worth is internal, born from the quiet assurance of her relationship with God. As Psalm 46, verse 5 reminds us, God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at break of day. This verse embodies the essence of her strength, a divine fortitude that remains unshaken regardless of who stays or leaves. Walking alone is not a choice made lightly. It requires courage, resolve, and an unyielding faith in one's purpose. While others seek validation in fleeting friendships, she turns inward, finding her value in the eternal love of her Creator. She understands that human connections, while beautiful, are not the source of her identity. She is defined by God, and this truth empowers her to navigate life's storms with unbreakable confidence. Her independence and resilience are not gifts she was born with, but qualities forged through trials, heartbreak, and solitude. This woman has walked through valleys of rejection and misunderstanding. She has faced moments where the silence was deafening, yet it was in these moments that she discovered the profound strength within her soul. She has learned to trust herself, to listen to the whispers of her spirit, and most importantly, to lean on God. Society often views solitude with pity, assuming that those who walk alone must be lonely. But for her, solitude is not an empty void. It is a sacred space. It is in this quiet space that she reflects, grows, and finds clarity. While others are distracted by the noise of the world, she is focused on her purpose and her relationship with God. She is not running away from the world. She is walking toward her destiny. There is a unique power in walking alone. It strips away distractions and forces a woman to face herself. It demands honesty, self-awareness, and accountability. This woman doesn't walk alone because she despises others. She walks alone because she understands that her journey is uniquely hers. She knows that not everyone can walk with her or understand the path she is on. The world often misunderstands women like her. Some label her as aloof or distant, while others mistake her independence for arrogance. But she does not concern herself with the opinions of others. She knows that true strength lies in being unapologetically authentic, even when it means walking a solitary road. In Ruth 1:16, we see an example of such strength. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Ruth's story reminds us that even in solitude, a woman's faith and loyalty can guide her to a life of purpose and fulfillment. Like Ruth, the woman who walks alone is not deterred by uncertainty. She embraces it, trusting that God's plan for her life is far greater than any earthly approval she could seek. For a woman who walks alone, worth is not something others bestow upon her. It is something she discovers within herself through her relationship with God. She does not measure her value by the number of friends she has or the accolades she receives. Instead, she looks to 1 Peter 2:9 for reassurance. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession. This verse is a cornerstone of her identity. It reminds her that she is chosen, loved, and valued by God. This understanding liberates her from the pressures of conformity and the need for external validation. She does not seek to please the world because she knows her true worth is found in the eyes of her Creator. Her self-worth empowers her to set boundaries that protect her peace and integrity. She does not compromise her values or allow others to diminish her light. She is selective about who has access to her life, knowing that not everyone is worthy of her energy. This woman understands that relationships should uplift, not drain. She prioritizes quality over quantity, choosing to surround herself with people who align with her values and support her purpose. She is not afraid to walk away from toxic relationships, because she knows that her worth is not dependent on who stays or leaves. Her strength to say no comes from a deep sense of self-respect. She's not swayed by the opinions of others or the pressure to conform. She stands firm in her convictions, even when it means standing alone. Her courage is not rooted in rebellion, but in a commitment to live authentically and honor her God-given purpose. The story of Queen Esther is a powerful example of a woman who understood her worth and walked a lonely path for a greater purpose. Esther risked her life to stand before the king, not for personal gain, but to fulfill a divine mission. Her courage came from knowing that her worth was not defined by her title or the approval of others, but by her God-given identity. In the same way, the woman who walks alone is guided by a sense of purpose that transcends human understanding. She's willing to make sacrifices and take risks because she knows that her life has a greater meaning. Her faith gives her the strength to face challenges with grace and determination. For this woman, solitude is not a punishment. It is a sanctuary. It is in the stillness that she hears God's voice most clearly. In the quiet, she finds the strength to heal, to grow, and to prepare for the next chapter of her life. She uses her solitude to invest in herself, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. She prioritizes self-care, not out of vanity, but as an act of gratitude for the life God has given her. She sees herself as a vessel of God's love and understands that taking care of herself is essential to fulfilling her purpose. A testimony of God's love. The life of a woman who walks alone is a testament to the power of God's love and guidance. Her strength, resilience, and independence are not her own. They are gifts from her Creator. Her life serves as a reminder that true worth is not found in people or popularity, but in the unshakable truth of who God says she is. She inspires others to embrace their own journeys, to find their worth in God, and to live authentically. Her life is a beacon of hope, proving that solitude is not a weakness but a strength, and that walking alone can lead to a deeper understanding of oneself and one's purpose. If you walk alone today, take heart. Remember Ruth, Queen Esther, and the countless women of faith who walked solitary paths and found their strength in God. Declare in the comments below, "I walk with God. He is my foundation." Let this be your affirmation, your reminder that you are never truly alone. For the woman who walks alone, every step is a testament to her resilience, her faith, and her unshakable worth. She is a rare gem, a living example of God's power at work in a solitary soul. And in her solitude, she discovers the greatest truth of all, that she is enough just as she is, because she is loved by God. In her solitude, a woman discovers an eternal truth, that God is her closest companion and her most steadfast guide. This relationship does not appear overnight. It is cultivated through seasons of uncertainty and dependence on His wisdom. These seasons often feel lonely, with paths that twist and turn into the unknown. Yet, it is in these moments, where others might crumble under doubt, that she learns to trust in the quiet voice of God, a voice that leads her through the chaos of life with clarity and assurance. The kind of trust she builds in God is profound. Proverbs 3:5-6 encapsulates this beautifully. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. This woman embodies this scripture, placing her confidence in a divine plan that transcends human logic. She has seen the unreliability of human advice and the fleeting nature of earthly assurances. Instead, she leans fully on God, knowing that His guidance is unfaltering, His plans good, and His faithfulness constant. One of the greatest gifts of walking alone is the opportunity to hear God clearly. Life is filled with distractions, opinions, expectations, and the ceaseless stream of noise from the world. But solitude offers her something rare, a sacred space to tune out the chaos and tune into the divine. In the quiet, she hears God speak, and His words bring her clarity, strength, and direction. This isn't a passive process. She has developed the discipline to create these quiet moments intentionally, understanding that without them, the noise of life can drown out God's voice. While others rush to seek the validation or approval of peers, she turns inward, bowing her head in prayer and asking for His guidance. Her prayer life is not confined to moments of crisis. It is woven into the fabric of her existence. She seeks God's wisdom in the small decisions as much as the big ones. Like Mary, the mother of Jesus, she responds to God's calling with trust and obedience, even when the path ahead is unclear. In Luke 1:38, Mary says, "I am the Lord's servant. May your word to me be fulfilled." This woman mirrors Mary's faith, choosing to walk forward in faith, even when the destination is shrouded in uncertainty. The woman who walks alone often faces a unique challenge: the judgment and misunderstanding of others. Her choices may not align with societal expectations or traditional paths, and this invites criticism. Yet, she has learned to prioritize God's voice over the noise of the crowd. This is not easy. Human approval is seductive. It offers a false sense of security and belonging. But she understands that this approval is fleeting, while God's approval is eternal. Her courage to follow God's direction, even in the face of misunderstanding or rejection, is what sets her apart. She walks a path of faith, knowing that His ways are higher than her ways, and His thoughts higher than her thoughts. Isaiah 55:8-9. Consider Deborah, the prophetess and judge of Israel. Deborah's calling was unconventional, her leadership unprecedented for a woman of her time. Yet she stepped boldly into her role, trusting that God had uniquely equipped her for the task. Like Deborah, this woman recognizes that her calling may not align with societal norms, but it is divinely ordained. To trust in God's guidance is to walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. The woman who walks alone has internalized this truth. She doesn't demand to see the entire path before taking her first step. She moves forward, trusting that God will illuminate the way as she goes. This faith does not make her immune to fear or doubt. She is human after all, and there are moments when the unknown feels overwhelming. But in these moments she clings to God's promises, reminding herself that His plans are to prosper her and not to harm her, to give her hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Her life becomes a living testimony of what it means to trust in God's timing and sovereignty. She has seen how delays, detours, and disappointments are often part of a greater plan. Even when circumstances appear chaotic, she knows that God is working behind the scenes, aligning everything for her good. Trusting God fully requires surrender, a release of her own plans and desires in favor of His. For a woman who walks alone, this surrender is both challenging and liberating. She has learned to be strong and self-sufficient, yet she understands that true peace comes not from controlling every aspect of her life, but from resting in the knowledge that God is in control. This act of surrender is not weakness. It is wisdom. She knows that her perspective is limited, while God's is eternal. By yielding to His will, she experiences a peace that surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4:7. This surrender allows her to let go of anxiety and embrace the freedom that comes from trusting in a perfect and loving God. Her solitude is not aimless or void. It is filled with purpose. In this space, she aligns her life with God's calling, investing her time and energy into what truly matters. She doesn't chase after the paths of others or conform to societal expectations. Instead, she focuses on fulfilling the unique purpose God has placed before her. Her choices are intentional, reflecting her faith and trust in God's plan. She understands that her worth is not determined by how closely her life mirrors the lives of others, but by her obedience to God. This purpose-driven mindset transforms her life from one of mere survival to one of significance. The strength of a woman who walks alone is magnetic. Those around her cannot help but notice the peace and confidence that radiate from her. Her life is a testament to the power of faith, showing others that it is possible to stand firm in the strength of a woman who walks alone is magnetic. Those around her cannot help but notice the peace and confidence that radiate from her. Her life is a testament to the power of faith, showing others that it is possible to stand firm in the face of uncertainty when you are anchored in God's love. Her resilience inspires others to trust in God's guidance, even when the path ahead is unclear. She becomes a living example of what it means to walk by faith, not by fear, and to find strength in God's promises. For the woman who walks alone, God is not just a guide. He is her closest companion. She has learned that human relationships, while valuable, cannot replace the presence of the divine. She is never truly alone because God walks beside her, strengthening her, guiding her, and loving her unconditionally. This companionship gives her the courage to face life's challenges with grace and determination. She knows that as long as God is with her, she has everything she needs. To the woman who walks alone, or to anyone who feels isolated or misunderstood, know this: your solitude is not a sign of weakness, but a space where God can work in you and through you. Trust in His guidance, lean into His love, and know that He is with you every step of the way. Declare in the comments, "I walk with God. He is my guide and my strength." Let this be your affirmation and your reminder that you are never truly alone. For the woman who walks alone, her journey is not one of isolation, but of transformation. In her solitude, she finds strength. In her faith, she finds purpose. And in her God, she finds her true companion. Let her story inspire you to walk boldly in your own faith, trusting that the one who leads you will never let you falter.